My question, my young adult son's eyes were open to a lot of the lies during COVID and Biden, Trump, and that made me thrilled that he's questioning things. But now I'm hearing things from him that it makes me fear for his discernment. For example, he expressed some anti-Semitic takes on history that maybe Hitler's motives for wanting to be rid of the Jews weren't so wrong, even if how he went about it was evil. And my fear is that in going from one extreme to another, trusting the mainstream media and government to now questioning or distrusting everything, he's believing different lies. So I'd like to know where he's getting these lies. I've heard a little bit about the groypers from Not the Bee. I'd never heard that term before. So my question to you is this. Do you know some of the names of the influencers who are taking advantage of the conservative youth movement? I want to read materials.
So thank you. So first of all, I do know the names. I'm not going to repeat them because that only makes them and their little irrelevant circle bigger. But and here, so yes, there's a couple thoughts. So Bonnie, I'll tell you this. So as soon as you were reading your question, this is how intimately familiar I am with this. As soon as you said, well, my son had his eyes open during COVID, I could tell the cadence of the question. I wrote in our chat, her son has probably become in depth in anti-Semitic stuff. I knew it before you even asked the question, Bonnie. And that's not a criticism. It's just we're seeing so much of this. And so this is a huge challenge because, of course, we should question and we should find baseline truth. However, if you dig so deep past foundational reality, you start to all of a sudden it becomes very transgressive. It's addictive because it becomes so taboo. And so, for example, Holocaust denial is illegal in Europe. Should it be illegal? No. Is it repulsive from the pit of hell? Yes. And this is a major challenge it's mostly young white men. I'm guessing that your son's a white man, I'm guessing. And
yes.
Just shot in the dark. Now, one of the reasons why it's a challenge for young white conservative disposed men is because they feel as if they have to keep on peeling back the onion to find a conspiracy when in reality there might not always be one. And sometimes you're searching in the wrong direction. Social media then pushes it. And then, of course, people then call for censorship of it. And so everyone gets confirmation bias when they see anything. So here's one of the major problems. One of the major problems is that a lot of these narratives appeal to secret knowledge, otherwise known as Gnosticism. At the core of so much of the Jew hatred and the anti-Semitism is an appeal of Gnosticism. We have secret knowledge, and there's this dark alley that the search for secret knowledge can go. And of course, you know this on this program. We've never been an apologist for everything that the Israeli government has ever done. But anyone with a decent moral compass should reject the scapegoating of Jews. By the way, you want to talk about low IQ, just such sloppy, shallow, reprehensible behavior, blaming an entire group for all of your problems. And there is a much better way, which is you have to, of course, acknowledge that the Israeli government does not do everything right. Who does? You don't have to apologize for it. But number two, they're not to blame for all of the world's ills either. This particular affliction blames the Jews for everything. There is knowledge, they say, and by the way, there is knowledge that is secret and correct. Like 15 years ago, immigration is a disaster for America. They don't integrate and they exploit our system. That was basically secret knowledge as well. It was secret knowledge to simply say that white men are discriminated against college. However, at times, and we see this with the Jew hatred, there is just this momentum that is occurring where people think that they're onto something, but in reality, they're not. And unfortunately, these are a lot of people that need to be told to start taking responsibility for their own actions and don't blame other people for your problems, especially a group of people that is 0.02% of the world's population. And here's where it gets people very angry. It is fundamentally a liberal attitude to blame other people for your problems. The left blames white men, and some people blame the Jews. So I'm not going to tell you the influencers here on air. I know who obviously they all are here, Bonnie. But here's the best way to respond. Make sure that he finds let's say, people such as myself or even Matt Walsh that have a much more reasonable approach to these issues, because it's very tempting to engage. And yet I hate the term conspiracy theory because so many conspiracy theories have turned up. But it is very tempting to engage in, let's just say, deep internet theories that are constantly have the goalposts changing, that quite honestly are rooted in lunacy and rooted in complete nonsensical type stuff. It is more helpful to first take a step back and say, what exactly do you believe and why do you believe it? I find this is a symptom of being hyper online.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.